Hello, I'm Lisa, life purpose and reinvention life coach. Welcome to My Golden Life, a channel for courageous women in the second half of life who want to live intentionally with purpose, passion, and positivity in mind, body, and spirit. And here we explore concepts, tools, and tips that make life more manageable, meaningful, and miraculous. No more playing small. We want more out of life, and we are going for it. I'm glad you're here. So let's do this. Okay, so in addition to being a life coach, I've been a yoga teacher for about 20 years, and it is a passion of mine. And also in this month of April of 2024, I'm talking about power thinking. I've been writing blog posts about it. So I've got my power thinking blog post, and I have language as a portal to greatness. And I really think in the second half of life, when we're midlife and beyond, and we're looking forward, we want to make the most out of that second half of life. We want it to be sensational versus just mediocre and ordinary. And there's nothing wrong with having an ordinary life if that's what you want. But if you want more out of life, then hang with me. Okay. So what I wanted to talk about today, because I am a yoga teacher, and I know a lot of you out there have tried yoga, or you've thought about it, or maybe you have a practice and maybe you don't, but I want to kind of talk to you about what it is, like what yoga is. A lot of people think it's just an exercise class, or there's philosophy behind it, but there's a lot of movement. And some people will say, without even really entering into a yoga practice, that they hate it and they don't really know anything about it. So I've gone to this resource called The Essence of Yoga, which is reflections on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So there are sutras. It is considered an authoritative text on yoga by Bernard Bouchon. And the book, the Yoga Sutras are threads, I'm going to put that in quote, threads of wisdom and or statements that teach you what yoga is. And the definition of yoga, according to this book, and according to most people I know who practice it, is that yoga is the ability to direct and focus mental activity. I'm going to say that again. Yoga is the ability to direct and focus mental activity. So why do we have yoga classes? Why do we do all these crazy postures and sun salutations and all that stuff? Well, we do it to strengthen the body, to purify the body. And also, a lot of teachers will share some philosophy in the class in the form of a theme or something like that. And a lot of teachers who teach in gyms aren't necessarily allowed to share that kind of stuff, but it does seep through their teaching. Like they will offer cues and offer statements that are true to yoga, that are universal, that are helpful to students. And so there is a way to tap into that through going to a yoga class, but also understand that yoga is not about the physical. It's about yoking your body with the spirit. And the practice of yoga is designed to calm the mind, to stop the chatter of the mind. And you don't have to practice to do that. You don't have to practice yoga to calm the chatter of the mind. Okay. There are other ways to do it. There are other methods, lots of methods. This happens to be one that I love and that I use, and is a tool for power thinking. Yoga is a tool for power thinking. So what I like about this book is that after it gives you the aphorism, and this particular one is 1.2, yoga is the ability to direct and focus mental activity. The questions are, does my practice really transform how I think? That's such a great question, because if you care about how you think and how you make decisions and what you believe, and it's a form of self-study, of course you have to be open to that, then these are great questions. The next question is, if my practice really transforms how I think, if so, how? and in what spheres of how I think. And how much do I apply yoga? This mind management is what I call it. How much do I apply yoga in my daily life? So are we thinking powerfully on a daily basis? Are we managing our minds on a daily basis? Most of us aren't. I can tell you that for sure. Most of us are running on the non-conscious mind. That's what's guiding us. And we don't really think about the thoughts that are coming through our minds and how to manage that. And there are many different methods for that. That's the last question here is, through yoga, can I become more aware of what I am? I like to say who I am, but it's asking what I am and what I am doing. So through yoga, can I become more aware of what I am and what I am doing? And I would suggest that, the practice of yoga helps you become more aware of not only who you are and what you're doing, but of what everyone else is doing, and also your environment and your body. I mean, it just creates a lot of awareness if you practice regularly. So I'm just going to share a little bit more on what this says about yoga. And it says yoga consists of keeping the mind quiet and wakeful so that one is totally present to what one is doing. Thoughts no longer rush forth of themselves in all directions, but are fully controlled and directed. Imagine that your thoughts are fully controlled and directed. And I think we all know that feeling of the thoughts running, rampantly in our minds when a lot of them, our imagination takes us off to really scary places when that doesn't need to happen. We can control that. So the word mind here is taken in a very large sense. It is the psyche, the intelligence, thought, sentiment, and emotion, whether in the conscious or the unconscious. In the yoga state, mental activities, which were previously a source of disturbance, are submerged by a stronger, more harmonious, more correct state of mind, which is directed at will. This is power thinking. This major aphorism defines yoga and specifies its limits. It concerns the mind, its activities, and fluctuations, which often cause human suffering. It aims to alleviate suffering through purifying and harmonizing the mind. And the other aphorisms will not be properly understood unless they are approached in relation to this one. So this aphorism, this statement about yoga, that it is the ability to direct and focus mental activity, is fundamental to the understanding the rest of it, which, there's a lot of what we call limbs to yoga. So it isn't just physical activity, although exercise is one of them, but there's also meditation and pranayama, which is our breathing exercises. And there's a whole host of things that you do in the practice and the method of yoga that helps you to get better at directing your mental activity. And I think there's, many other methods as well. And I encourage people to look at different methods for mind management. And so I just wanted to share that, that power thinking comes from actually self-study, things like yoga, learning other methods of managing your mind. And when you accomplish that, you are in power thinking mode most of the time. You make better decisions, you have better relationships, you do it better at your work, your job, your business, or whatever. So I'm sharing that with you because I want you to suffer less. It is all about reducing suffering because so much suffering comes from here. All right, so I think I've said enough on that. If you have any questions, reach out. I do have a blog post called Power Thinking. I will put that in the description. And I also have one called Language as a Portal to Greatness. So I'm going to put that in there as well. And if you would like a sensational second half of life, then I will put a link to my free video series. I have 7 short videos that give you tips on how to create a sensational second half of life. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.